The wind howled through the broken window frame of Daniel's small rented room. The old heater coughed and sputtered, but it gave little warmth. Daniel sat hunched on the torn sofa, his work uniform still on, smelling faintly of cleaning chemicals. His hands were rough, calloused from endless hours as a janitor. His son, Noah, just 7 years old, slept in the corner on a thin mattress. The boy curled into himself, clutching a worn teddy bear Daniel had rescued from the trash months ago. Daniel's eyes softened as he looked at his son. "One day, Noah, one day I'll give you better," he whispered, though he wasn't sure if he believed it himself. Then it came. A knock. 3 sharp raps against the wooden door, cutting through the night silence. Daniel froze. His first thought was trouble. Rent collectors? Or worse. He glanced at the clock. Past midnight. No one came here this late, not to this forgotten corner of the city. Another knock. Louder. Urgent. Daniel rose slowly, his heart beating fast. He whispered to himself, "Stay calm. Don't wake Noah." The floorboards creaked under his steps. He reached the door and pressed his ear against it. "Hello," he called, his voice low but firm. No answer. Only the sound of heavy breathing. His pulse quickened. He gripped the handle but hesitated. "Who is it?" A weak voice finally broke through. A girl's voice. Trembling. "Please, please, I need help. Just a place to stay. For one night. Please." Daniel's brow furrowed. He opened the door halfway, the chain still on. In the dim yellow light of the street lamp, he saw her. A young girl, maybe 18 or 19. Her clothes were damp, clinging to her thin frame. Her hair was tangled, strands stuck to her tear-streaked face. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering violently. Her eyes met his. Desperate. Frightened. "I'll leave by morning," she whispered, her lips trembling. I don't have anywhere else." Daniel's mind raced. Strangers meant danger. He had Noah to think about. But something in her eyes stopped him from shutting the door. The same look he'd seen in his own reflection too many nights. The look of someone forgotten by the world. He exhaled, unhooked the chain, and opened the door fully. "Come in," he said quietly. The girl stepped inside, hugging herself tighter as the door closed behind her. Daniel could smell the rain on her clothes, the faint scent of perfume still clinging to her, though faded. "Sit," he gestured to the sofa. She lowered herself carefully, her hands trembling as she rubbed them together for warmth. "What's your name?" Daniel asked, keeping his voice steady. "Lena," she replied, almost in a whisper. I don't want to cause trouble." Daniel glanced at Noah, still asleep, then back at her. "You already look like trouble," he said with a half-smile, trying to lighten the tension. For the first time, she gave the smallest hint of a smile. But her eyes darted to the window, as if she feared someone might be following. Daniel noticed. "Are you in danger?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Instead, her eyes filled with tears. She looked away, biting her lip hard to keep them from falling. He sighed. He didn't need details tonight. Whoever she was, whatever she carried, he could see she was exhausted, broken. "I'll get you a blanket," Daniel said. He brought an old one from the closet and handed it to her. She pulled it around herself, sinking into the sofa, her body slowly relaxing for the first time. For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of the broken heater and the whistle of the wind outside remained. Daniel leaned against the wall, watching her. He wanted to ask more. Who she was, where she came from, but the weight in her eyes told him to wait. She whispered, almost to herself, "Thank you. No one else opened their door tonight. You're the first." Daniel nodded slowly. "Get some rest. Morning will come fast." Lena curled up under the blanket, her eyes closing, though her body still shook faintly. Daniel looked at her one last time before turning to check on Noah. He tucked the blanket tighter around his son, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. His heart ached, caught between fear and a strange sense of responsibility for the girl now sleeping under his roof. He whispered to himself, "What did I just bring into this house?" The night stretched long. Shadows shifted on the walls. Daniel stayed awake, listening to every creak, every gust of wind, his thoughts restless. By dawn, he would learn the truth. And it would change everything. The first rays of dawn pushed through the thin curtains, painting the cracked walls in pale gold. Daniel's eyes burned from lack of sleep. He had spent the whole night half awake, ears tuned to every sound, watching over both Noah and the strange girl on his couch. The room smelled faintly of rain-soaked clothes and instant coffee. Daniel rubbed his tired eyes, stood, and went to the small stove. He filled a dented kettle, the hiss of water breaking the silence. Behind him, a soft rustle. Lena stirred. Her hair fell over her face, but her eyes opened slowly, scanning the unfamiliar space. For a brief second, she looked lost, vulnerable. Then she noticed Daniel watching. "You stayed up all night?" she asked quietly. "Habit," Daniel replied, pouring hot water into a chipped mug. "I don't sleep easy." Lena sat up, pulling the blanket tighter. "You didn't have to let me in," she whispered. "Most people would have shut the door." Daniel handed her the mug. "Most people don't have a kid sleeping in the corner," he said flatly. "I couldn't risk you being out there, making noise, drawing attention. That's why I let you in." Her lips curved in a faint, tired smile. She sipped the bitter coffee, wincing. "Strong," she murmured. Daniel allowed himself the smallest chuckle. "That's all I can afford." Noah stirred on his mattress. His eyes blinked open, sleepy but curious. He sat up, clutching his teddy bear, and looked at Lena. "Who's she, Dad?" Lena froze. For a moment, she looked guilty, like she had stepped into something sacred. Daniel crouched beside his son. "She's just someone who needed a place to stay." "Go on, say hi." Noah tilted his head. "Hi." "Hi," Lena whispered back, her voice soft. Daniel tousled Noah's hair. "Go wash up. School bus comes in 20 minutes. As the boy shuffled away, Lena leaned forward, lowering her voice. "You're raising him alone?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "Yeah, his mom's not around." He didn't elaborate. He never did. Silence lingered. The distant sound of traffic filtered in from the street outside. Finally, Lena spoke again, her tone hesitant. I shouldn't stay long. My father would." She stopped herself mid-sentence, biting her lip. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Your father? He looking for you?" She shook her head quickly, too quickly. "It's complicated. I just needed one night. I'll leave after breakfast." Daniel studied her closely. Her clothes were cheap, yet the watch on her wrist, half hidden under the blanket, looked expensive. Too expensive for someone lost in the rain. "Who exactly are you, Lena?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Her hands trembled slightly as she set down the mug. She opened her mouth to answer, but before she could, Noah came running back. "Dad, bus is here," he called, grabbing his small backpack. Daniel bent down, kissing his son's forehead. "Be good. I'll pick you up later." Noah smiled at Lena shyly before darting out the door. When the door closed, silence fell again. Lena's gaze lingered on the boy. "He's sweet," she murmured. "You're doing a good job." Daniel let out a dry laugh. "If scraping by counts as a good job." Her eyes softened, but she didn't push. Instead, she stood, pulling the blanket off her shoulders. She walked toward the window, parting the curtains slightly. Outside, a black car sat parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. Her body stiffened. She let the curtain fall instantly. Daniel noticed. "What is it?" "Nothing," she said quickly, though her face had gone pale. Daniel stepped closer, suspicion rising. "That's not nothing." "Who's out there?" Lena's breathing quickened. She backed away from the window. I can't explain. Not yet." Daniel's voice hardened. "You brought danger to my house." Her eyes welled with tears. "No, I swear. Please. Just trust me. For a little while." Daniel clenched his fists. Every instinct screamed to protect Noah, to throw this girl out. Yet something in her eyes, fear, raw and real, stopped him. He took a slow breath. "Fine. But you tell me the truth. All of it. Who are you running from?" Lena shook her head, whispering, "I'm not running from anyone. I'm running from myself and from the life I never chose." Daniel stared at her, confusion etched on his face. The tension in the room was thick, heavy, with unspoken words. Outside, the black car's engine revved once before pulling away. The sound lingered in Daniel's ears, chilling him. He turned back to Lena. "Start talking. Because right now I need to know if I just put my son in danger." Lena's lips parted, but her voice caught. She hesitated, then finally whispered, "I'm not who you think I am." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Then who are you?" Her answer would shatter everything he thought he knew about this stranger. Daniel's hands tightened on the edge of the table. His voice was sharp. "Stop speaking in riddles. Tell me who you are." Lena's shoulders slumped. She looked down, twisting the blanket in her hands like a child caught in a lie. Her lips trembled. "My father is not like yours. He's powerful. He controls things. People. Money. Everything." Daniel's brow furrowed. "What are you saying?" Her voice broke as she whispered, "I'm the daughter of a millionaire." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Daniel blinked, trying to process. His eyes instinctively darted to the watch on her wrist, the polished detail he had noticed earlier. It suddenly made sense. "You." His laugh was bitter, disbelief laced with anger. "You're telling me you're rich? Then why show up at my door like some runaway stray?" Lena flinched at the harshness in his tone. Tears welled in her eyes. "Because money doesn't mean safety. It doesn't mean freedom. Last night I just wanted to feel human. I wanted someone to open a door because they cared, not because of who my father is." Daniel paced the room, running a hand through his messy hair. The floor creaked under his heavy steps. "Do you have any idea what kind of risk you put me in? My son lives here. If your father is looking for you, he won't hurt you." Lena interrupted, her voice trembling. "But he would never forgive me for leaving. He keeps everything under control, even me. I just couldn't breathe anymore in that house." Daniel turned sharply toward her. His face hardened, eyes burning with suspicion. "You expect me to believe that? That the daughter of a millionaire wanders into a poor man's home by accident?" Her tears spilled over. "It wasn't an accident. I saw the light in your window. You looked like someone who wouldn't slam the door in my face." Daniel stared at her. A storm of emotions raged inside him. Anger, fear, confusion. But beneath it all, a flicker of something else. A memory. He remembered nights when Noah was sick and he had no money for medicine. Nights he had begged for help and doors had been slammed in his face. He remembered what it felt like to be invisible, to be unwanted. He exhaled slowly, his voice softening just slightly. "So what happens now, Lena? Do I wake up tomorrow to men in suits breaking my door down?" She shook her head violently. "No. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. No one knows I'm here. You're the only person I've trusted in years." Silence stretched between them. The faint ticking of the wall clock echoed in the room. Daniel finally spoke, his voice low. "You should leave. Before Noah gets back. Before this gets messy." Her face fell. "Please. Just one more night. I'll go tomorrow. I promise." Daniel's jaw tightened. He wanted to say no. Every instinct screamed to protect his son. But then he saw her, this girl with everything money could buy, trembling like a child who had nothing. He sighed deeply, rubbing his tired eyes. "One night. That's it. Then you walk out of here and never look back." Lena nodded quickly, wiping her tears. "Thank you. You don't know what this means." Daniel grunted, turning away. "Don't thank me. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it so I can sleep knowing I didn't turn someone away into the cold." Lena clutched the blanket tighter, her voice small. "That's exactly why I came here." Just then, footsteps echoed in the hall outside. Heavy, slow. Daniel stiffened instantly. He motioned to Lena to stay quiet. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. A shadow moved under the crack, pacing. Daniel's breath caught. He grabbed a wrench from the counter, holding it tightly. A voice called through the door. Deep, firm. "Is she in there?" Lena's face drained of all color. She clamped a hand over her mouth to stop a cry from escaping. Daniel's heart thundered in his chest. Whoever this was, they knew. He whispered to Lena, his voice sharp and urgent. Who is that? Tell me now. Her whisper trembled. My father's men. They found me. The knocking came again, harder this time. Open the door, sir. We know she's inside. Daniel's grip tightened on the wrench. His eyes locked with Lena's, her face pale with terror. For the first time in years, Daniel felt the surge of a fight he thought he'd buried long ago. The question now wasn't if he would protect her. It was how far he was willing to go. The pounding on the door grew louder. Each knock rattled the thin wood like it could split at any second. Sir, open up, the deep voice demanded. We just want to talk. Daniel's jaw tightened. His hands gripped the wrench so hard his knuckles turned white. He glanced at Lena. She sat frozen on the sofa, clutching the blanket like a shield. Her lips trembled as she shook her head. Daniel's voice was low, steady. If I open that door, will they take you? Her whisper came like a plea. Yes. They'll drag me back. Please don't let them. Daniel's eyes hardened. His pulse raced, but his voice was firm. Stay behind me. Another thunderous knock shook the door. This time, the chain rattled against its frame. Noah's laughter, innocent and unaware, flashed through Daniel's mind. The thought of his son's safety fueled him. Sir, the voice boomed again. Last warning. Daniel moved closer to the door. What do you want? He shouted, his voice sharp. A pause. Then the voice came, calmer, controlled. We're looking for a young woman. About 19. She's run off from home. Her family's worried sick. If you've seen her, it'll be easier if you just tell us. Daniel's heart pounded. He turned his head slightly. Lena's eyes brimmed with tears, her head shaking violently. They're lying, she mouthed. Daniel swallowed hard. He shouted back, no one like that here. Try the next building. Silence. Heavy. Unsettling. Then the voice said, colder this time. Sir, we saw footprints outside. Fresh. We know she came in here. Daniel's stomach dropped. He hadn't thought about the muddy trail from her shoes. The men outside began murmuring. Shadows moved under the crack of the door. One pair of feet stepped back. Another moved closer. Daniel whispered to Lena, window. Now. Go. She froze. I can't. Do it, he hissed. If they come in, I'll stall them. Tears slid down her face, but she nodded. She slipped quietly toward the back, her bare feet silent against the old floorboards. The doorknob rattled violently. Daniel raised the wrench higher, his breath sharp, his chest rising and falling fast. Sir, the voice thundered. Open this door, or we will. Daniel's voice roared back. You try it, and I swear you'll regret it. For a moment, silence again. The kind that presses against your ears and makes every second heavier than the last. Then footsteps retreating. The car door slamming outside. The growl of an engine starting. Daniel stayed still, heart hammering, wrench raised. He didn't lower it until the sound of the car faded into the distance. Only then did Lena reappear, trembling, clutching the blanket around her shoulders. Her face was pale as a ghost. They'll come back, she whispered. They never give up. Daniel lowered the wrench slowly. He exhaled hard, like a man who had just stepped back from the edge of a cliff. You weren't lying, he said quietly. Her tears fell freely now. I told you. My father has people everywhere. If they catch me, I'll never get out again. Daniel studied her. Every instinct screamed to push her out, to protect Noah at all costs. But another part of him, stubborn, weary, human, saw something else. She wasn't just a spoiled rich girl running from home. She was a prisoner, and she had chosen his broken door as her escape. Why me? Daniel finally asked. His voice was raw. Out of every door in this city, why mine? Lena's eyes met his, glistening. Because you know what it's like to fight for someone you love. I saw it in your eyes when you opened the door. Daniel looked away, his jaw tightening. He thought of Noah, of the nights he had gone hungry just to feed his son. She was right, but her presence had just brought danger straight into that boy's life. Daniel's voice was firm, almost cold. You can stay for tonight, but tomorrow you're gone. I can't risk my son's safety for you. Lena flinched, but nodded slowly. Her whisper cracked. I understand. The room fell quiet again. The broken heater hummed weakly. The faint smell of metal from the wrench lingered in the air. Daniel set the wrench down, but kept it within reach. His eyes remained sharp, scanning the door, the window, the shadows. For the first time in years, he felt the storm of his past creeping back. The fight he thought he had buried was awake again. And as he looked at Lena, he knew the storm had only just begun. The night was long. Daniel barely moved from his chair, wrench by his side, eyes fixed on the door. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind outside kept him on edge. Lena sat curled on the sofa, wrapped in the blanket, her face pale and restless. At dawn, the faint sound of a school bus horn echoed from down the street. Daniel stood and grabbed Noah's small backpack. He knew the boy would be up any second. He turned to Lena. You said one more night. It's morning now, Daniel said, his voice firm. Her eyes glistened. I'll go. But before I do, you should know something. Daniel's brow furrowed. What? She pulled a small envelope from the inside pocket of her jacket. Her hands shook as she held it out. I brought this with me. I didn't know where else to put it. It's yours now. Daniel didn't take it. He stared. What is it? Her voice cracked. Proof. Bank details. My name. My father's signature. It's money. More than you can imagine. Daniel's chest tightened. Why give this to me? Because you're the only one who saw me as a person, she whispered. Not as a millionaire's daughter. Not as a trophy. Just Lena. Daniel's jaw clenched. He pushed the envelope back toward her. I don't want your money. That's not why I helped you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Then keep it for Noah. So he never has to live the way you do. So he doesn't grow up thinking kindness is weakness. Before Daniel could answer, footsteps thundered outside again. This time, more than two. Shadows crossed the window. A voice, colder than before, called out. Open up. Now. Daniel's pulse roared in his ears. He shoved the envelope into his pocket, without thinking. He turned to Lena. Back room. Stay out of sight. She hesitated. Daniel. Go, he barked. Lena vanished into the back room just as Noah stumbled out, rubbing his eyes, teddy bear in hand. Dad? What's happening? Daniel crouched quickly, forcing calm into his voice. Nothing, buddy. Just stay quiet. He kissed Noah's forehead and guided him toward the kitchen. The pounding on the door grew violent. The frame cracked. Daniel picked up the wrench again. His heart raced, but his eyes were steady. He had faced worse storms before, though not with so much at stake. The door splintered. Two men in black suits pushed their way inside. Behind them, another stood outside, scanning the street. Where is she? One demanded. His eyes swept the room, sharp and searching. Daniel stood tall, wrench in hand. You need to leave. The man sneered. Don't be foolish. She belongs to her family. We'll take her back, whether you like it or not. Daniel's grip tightened. He stepped forward, blocking their path. Not while I'm standing here. For a moment, silence burned between them. The men sized him up, one poor janitor against their weight and power. But Daniel's eyes carried a fire that unsettled even them. Finally, one of the men muttered, We'll be back. And when we return, you won't stop us. They turned sharply and left, the door slamming behind them. The engine of the black car roared, fading into the distance. Daniel exhaled hard, lowering the wrench. His knees felt weak, but he didn't show it. Lena stepped out from the back room, tears streaking her face. Why did you do that? Daniel looked at her, his chest heaving. Because I know what it feels like to have no one stand up for you. For a long moment, she just stared at him, her lips trembling. Then she whispered, I'll never forget this. The school bus honked again outside. Noah slipped on his shoes, still clutching his teddy bear. He glanced between Lena and his father. Is she staying, Dad? Daniel looked at Lena, then at his son. The weight of the choice pressed heavy on him. Letting her stay meant danger. Sending her away meant abandoning someone who had nowhere else. His voice was quiet, steady. For now, yes. She stays. Lena's tears fell freely. She whispered, Thank you. Daniel glanced at the broken door, at the wrench still in his hand, at the envelope burning in his pocket. He knew this wasn't over. The men would return. The storm was only beginning. But for the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him. Strength. Purpose. And as he looked at Noah and Lena, he realized this fight was no longer just about survival. It was about protecting something bigger. Family, chosen or not. He tightened his grip on the wrench, his voice low. Let them come.